Everybody. Well, when it comes to planning for retirement, a lot of us focus on the number in the account, right? But our next guest says that's not the question we should be asking. Instead, it's all about creating steady income. Jeremiah Nolen is a Huntsville-based financial advisor and author of the new book, Retire with a Paycheck. And this morning, he's here to explain why the most boring strategy might be the smartest and most profitable. Jeremiah, thank you so much for coming. This is a big topic that we know affects literally everybody watching this morning. Again, we just kind of made some bold statements. I feel like in that intro, you say that this whole retirement planning really starts with a shift in mindset. Right. What do you mean by this, and why is it kind of steady income really the question we should be looking at?
Absolutely. Yeah, I find that most folks here in North Alabama, whether they're working at Redstone Arsenal or Boeing, they're constantly checking their account balances. What's my TSP worth? What's my 401k worth? But pension managers who oversee trillions of dollars in assets every year, they think completely differently. They're looking at how can I create predictable income streams that can last a lifetime. And so this mindset shift going from how much do I have to how much do I need, that's the shift that changes everything in retirement planning.
And you have a way of kind of going about this, something you call the 3-bucket strategy,
That's
right? Kind of break this down and what this looks like again throughout the book.
Absolutely. So we teach a proprietary framework called the Safe Bucket Blueprint. So you have your safe bucket. That's designed to create predictable income streams. And that's going to cover your essential living expenses, right? Then you have your freedom bucket. That's for liquidity, for opportunity, right? That's for traveling, spoiling the grandbabies, right? And then you have your growth bucket. That's for the long-term investing, right? That's for long-term growth, for legacy goals, maybe for long-term care needs. That's probably going to happen for most of us in our lifetime, right? And so when you have 3 different buckets, you're not dependent upon the market roller coaster for your grocery bill next month, right? You have that covered, and so you can live a little bit more confidently in retirement, knowing you've divided your assets by purpose.
Let's also chat though to Jeremiah. I think again it's worth pointing out numbers change, right? The market changes. We've seen so much inflation again and upcrease in price and a lot of other assets. How do we kind of navigate retirement amidst that? What we thought was once a lot of money, and now we're looking at it thinking, oh goodness, I might not have saved as much as I thought I was.
That's a very critical question. And at the end of the day, that's why the 3-bucket approach works so well. Because in your safe bucket, you can actually include income sources that adjust over time, right? And then you allow your growth bucket to do what it needs to do. It's going to be invested in assets that historically are going to outpace inflation. So it's not a either or, it's a both and situation. Right? You're not putting everything into fixed income. Again, you're dividing your assets by purpose. And when you do that, that's when we feel like you can have the confidence of having a retirement strategy that actually works. Because we believe it's not about chasing the best investment. It's about the right investment in the right bucket for the right job. Yeah,
and we know financial advisors like you work to help people navigate through that process. Another thing I want to touch on, Jeremiah, I think again on the subject of retirement, I think a lot of times people panic thinking, I didn't start early enough, right? Again, especially when we're thinking about a 401k. I mean, my daddy told me, he was like, you got to start planning for that now. I was 25 years old and he was like, retirement planning starts now.
That's right.
But for people who have kind of hit, those later years, they think, goodness, I paid for 3 college tuitions, or I paid and I didn't kind of have that plan. Options that they have now kind of in these later years.
Very great question. The first thing we have to do is we have to subtract our savings first.
Okay.
We find that people tend to spend and then save what's left, and we know when we do that, there's usually never anything left, right? But if we take a look at what we need to have, and there's some really good calculators out there that you can use to determine what you're going to need, right? And so at the end of the day, it's not about how much we have, it's how much do we need, right? So what we want to do is first of all calculate your essential living expenses. Don't guess on this number, right? Be very specific on your utilities, your housing, your groceries, your insurance premiums, right? And then you've got that number, subtract out what you think you're going to have from Social Security, maybe a pension if you're lucky to still have one of those today, and that's your retirement income gap. And once you know that number, you can explore strategies that's going to help you fill that gap. And so again, by having that safe and secured and knowing that that's taken care of, we're not dependent on the growth of our assets to pay the groceries next month.
Right. Yeah. Again, Jeremiah, You're so strategic and practical in all of this information. We want to thank you so much for walking people through this, right? Again, it can seem initially scary. I think anything with money, it sometimes freaks people out, right? But again, you guys have such the demeanor to handle all of this, and we do want to stress, again, you're based right here in Huntsville. Tell us where we can come for you for more information, get a copy of the book, just all the resources we want to stress that people can be part of.
Yeah, so we have my book, Retire with a Paycheck, right? And so we also have a YouTube channel where we've really taken this book and then, because some people don't like to read, and I get that. You can watch the videos. We explore the different strategies, in detail. Just search my name, you'll find it. And, from there, it's just all about taking control of your own retirement.
Yeah, Jeremiah Nolen, my friend, thank you for helping people. You're impacting families across the area, and we certainly appreciate you being here. Congrats on the book, too, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it so much.